you're ready to wake up, you're going to wake up. And if you're not ready, you're going to stay pretending that you're just a little, poor little me. And since you're all here and engaged in this sort of inquiry and listening to this sort of lecture, I assume that you're all on the process of waking up. Or else you're teasing yourselves with some kind of flirtation with waking up, which you're not serious about. But I assume maybe you are, not serious but sincere, that you are ready to wake up. So then, when you're in the way of waking up and finding out who you really are, what you do is what the whole universe is doing at the place you call here and now. You are something the whole universe is doing in the same way that a wave is something that the whole ocean is doing. The real you is not a puppet which life pushes around. The real deep down you is the whole universe.
But the one thing people tend to realize at moments like this is that they wasted a lot of time when life was normal. It's not just what they did with their time. It's not just that they spent too much time working or compulsively checking email. It's that they cared about the wrong things. They regret what they cared about. Their attention was bound up in petty concerns, year after year, when life was normal. And this is a paradox, of course, because we all know this epiphany is coming. Don't you know this is coming? Don't you know that there's going to come a day when you'll be sick or someone close to you will die, and you'll look back on the kinds of things that captured your attention? Because even if you live to be 100, there's just not that many days in life. It is always now. However much you feel you may need to plan for the future, to anticipate it, to mitigate risks, the reality of your life is now. Our conscious awareness of the present moment is, in some relevant sense, already a memory. But as a matter of conscious experience, the reality of your life is always now.
You see, there are some people who come through the universe, and their level of contribution and the level of energy they manifest is so small, so inconspicuous, that when they go, you won't even know they left. But there are some people, because of their personality, because of their contribution, because of the investment of their time and their energy and the impact they have there, that when they go, everybody will miss them. When Rosa Parks, everybody will know. Nelson Mandela, everybody will know. Why? Because of their contribution. See, but there's some people, because their contribution is so small, no one will care. So I'm saying, before you are boxed and buried, decide that you're going to box and bury your fears. Decide that you're going to begin to live life on a new level, seeking out new horizons, that you're going to find more love and more joy and more ways to give more to life. God said something, I love this. He says, everything a man does for himself, guess what? He takes with him. But everything he does for others, he leaves behind. So when you begin to say, what is it that I want to leave? What contribution that I want to begin to make? What difference do I want to make in life? What is it that I want to do with the rest of the life that I have left? What chances I need to take? What risks do I need to begin to embrace? What fears do I need to step on? What areas of my life am I dead right now? What dreams? You can either live your dreams or live your fears. You have got to get to a point where you say, I'm sick and tired of living like this. There's got to be more. That's when people go out and strike out on their dreams. That's when people get out of relationships where they're dying together rather than growing together. That's where they leave jobs. So where you going? Away from here. I know that you've got greatness within you. I know that you have unlimited potential in you. I know that you have something to give to the universe.
If I said to you, look, you can have any one thing. You can have good health, you can have money, you can have the fame that allows you to inspire people. What would you choose as a one thing?
Certainly, I think without health, you're not around to do anything, but I think it's a life of meaning. I don't think I know it is. Feeling like your life matters, because you've had the experience. You and I both have lots of friends who've achieved everything they could ever dreamed of, and they're miserable. I get the phone call to help turn them around. They're missing a meaningful life, and meaning comes from two things. I always tell people happiness comes from progress. If you can do something where you're growing, and because you have grown, you have something to give to other people that's meaningful, insight, love, caring, something, then life is rich. Because happiness comes and goes. Happiness is not here every moment. And happiness isn't all it's cracked up to be. Meaning is, there are people that have gone through horrible times. Met a woman who was 109 years old, and she was, in the concentration camps. She's the oldest living Holocaust survivor. And that woman's life is so rich because of all the pain, because she's used that to help other people. Still at 109, she's strong. She shares her music. She does the things that make her feel like she's got a contribution. So 109, she's fully alive.
I just can't explain to everybody clearer. When you figure out who you are and do all that, you win. If you're great at painting, paint and hire a partner to be your salesperson. If somebody at 20 years old made me their business partner as a painter, they'd be the most famous painter in the world. Yet, most painters wanna be the salesman and businessmen and women as well as the painter, and there's a problem. 85% of painting 90% of people that are great at painting are artists and don't have the DNA to sell, and vice versa. All my sales friends and business friends that want to start all these businesses around something creative, I have bad news for you, Joel. You can be a great salesman, but your pottery sucks. And so that's that. So that's a very funny analogy for the following. Figure out who you are, don't apologize for who you are, and then become even greater than you naturally are at what you are. Well, that's the whole game's broken because everybody's too tied up into other people's opinions. I only care about my opinion of myself. And I care what my mom and wife and kids and the world think, just not as much as I care about the way I think about myself. And that's it, just that slight advantage. And I think most of you care more about what other people think than what you think about yourself, and or you actually don't feel good about yourself, right? The thing that made me smile, when you just introduced me, you said, I'm one of the most motivational people in the world, and everybody I know that's met him said he's the nicest guy. There's no comparison to the better feeling of people that have actually gotten to know me say that versus millions, hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands thinking I'm the coolest. And that's it. I mean, that's it. And that's why it's easy for me to feel good about myself, right? And so I think a lot of people need to start with themselves. Maybe the reason they don't have more confidence in themselves or care about their opinion about themselves versus others is because they know they're doing things they don't like. So they need to work on that. I get offered and emailed 5,000 different requests for podcasts and shows, and what I think my friend here, let's see his name, Evan, Evan Carmichael introduced me to Bo. What Bo has figured out is time is the asset, and so if you want Kevin Hart or The Rock or Beyonce or Ja Rule or Richard Branson or Tony Hsieh or Sheryl Sandberg on your podcast, maybe you should start the 120-second podcast. And then you gotta be creative and try to figure out how you get, maybe you create the one question video show. That's it, the whole show's one question. Promise you, a lot of people that you want as guests, if they see in the headline, I just need 4 minutes of your time for the one question show, a lot more are gonna say yes than, can you be on my podcast for an hour and a half?
We struggle with self-doubt. We worry, are we ready for this? Are we good enough? Do we actually have what it takes to succeed?
What does that mean? But when you decide something is a must for you, an absolute must, when you cut off any possible, you say, I'm going to find the way or I'm going to make the way. Human beings, when they resolve things, when they make a real resolution inside themselves, which is they raise the standard and they make it a must, they find the way.
I've been doing this for 30 years. But for people like us, we will do anything to be creative.
I learned many great lessons from my father, not the least of which was that you can fail at what you don't want. So you might as well take a chance on doing what you love.
And so the question is, where does passion come from? What are the things that you love to do? What are the things that you would do for free?
That we are far too impatient with people. When we assess whether someone has got what it takes to do a certain job, we always want to make that assessment after 6 months or a year, and that's ridiculous.
Your values should never be negotiable, compromised, and you should never settle.
You see, hope is not a strategy. How often you invest in yourself? Are you willing to put everything you have on the line?
That's the gift of our lives. And I think when we experience that grace, we don't just experience more achievement, but we start to experience more fulfillment.
Is to create entertainment that truly has educational value. If we're all pushed into a classroom and told we have a class, we're all not listening.
No one talks about when you're holding on to a vision that no one else gets. That you're the only cheerleader for that vision. You're the only parade for that vision. And that doesn't mean stop parading until other people can understand the sound of your voice.
Will you bluff it out when you're wrong? Or will you apologize? Will you guard your heart against rejection? Or will you act when you fall in love?
Do not live in your bubble. Put some more air in your bubble. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail.
What are you going to do with the rest of your life? That's a trigger. That's the biggest trigger that I have ever experienced. What are you going to do the rest of your life?
I didn't see it then, but it turned out that getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. The heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again, less sure about everything. I'm convinced that the only thing that kept me going was that I loved what I did. You've got to find what you love.